he married the Hokage's wife? Please subscribe. Episode 61. Because Ye Chen needed to recover his strength, although he had the intention to kill the yaoi who was responsible for opening the big move first, he could only watch silently. Because what followed was the siege of 3 Thunder Country physical arts powerhouses. Needless to say, the speed of the Thunder Shadow is now seriously injured, but it has only decreased by 2 layers at most, and it is still as fast as lightning. The other two-tailed human pillar force, although its own strength is only shadow level, and may even be just a beginner shadow level, but in the Thunder Chakra mode, coupled with the strengthening of the tailed beast's coat to the physical technique, the speed is also the same as the severely injured Thunder Shadow. In addition, the elite upper ninja, although he was suddenly involved in the battle, but the villain is the elite upper ninja, so he also has good combat experience. As soon as Lei Ying's words fell, he rushed to Ye Chen's visual dead end, and began to take advantage of the gap between the attacks of the 2 shadow levels to give Ye Chen a sneak attack from time to time. His sneak attack move is also very fresh. It is a black thunderbolt. The power of this thunder is stronger than ordinary blue lightning. It is similar to the blood succession limit of melting and boiling. In the original work, there is another person who will also use this trick, that is, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows in front of him, but so far, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows are all in close combat to contain Ye Chen, so there is no chance to use it. Facing Ye Chen alone, no one had the opportunity to perform ninjutsu, because his speed was the first in the ninja world. But at the moment, Ye Chen's face was sandwiched by 3 people, but for a while, he could only be pressed and beaten. The speed of Lei Ying and Erwei is extremely amazing, even if Ye Chen beats the 2 of them one-on-one, but in the case of one-on-2, he can only passively parry. Fortunately, although his physical strength is still recovering, the combination of seeing and hearing the domineering heart network has no effect, and he can still accurately predict every enemy attack. So in the next step, relying on this advantage, he has been flashing and moving, defusing those seemingly dangerous moves again and again. Especially the black lightning of that elite shinobi made Ye Chen have a trace of crisis. He didn't know what this blood succession limit was called, but he definitely couldn't be defeated. This is most likely Ye Chen's superior ability. Belonging to the pirate world, the magma fruit suppresses the burning fruit the same, pure superiority and subordination. It is also for this reason that when facing the ninjutsu of this elite shinobi, he must concentrate on 12 points and pay more attention than when facing Miao and Thunder Shadow. Lei Ying, as a person with extremely experienced combat experience, naturally also faintly noticed this. At this time, he suddenly moved his mouth to Doyle a few times, but he didn't speak, and he couldn't see what he said by looking at his lips, thinking that there was some code words. When Ye Chen saw this, he also had a bad premonition. The big move of the 8 tails is nothing more than tailed beast Jade, which he can still deal with, but if it is this black thunder, he must be cautious. Thinking of this, Ye Chen was the first to react. Thor mode. Second gear. At this moment, he has reached the point of life and death, so he does not plan to hide in clumsy, his original Thor mode. His body has completely turned into lightning. Now with a gentle whisper to open the second gear, his body began to soar rapidly. At this time, those 3 generations of Lei Ying noticed the abnormality, and no longer hesitated, and used their last strength at the first time. He knew that this was the last chance, and if he couldn't take Ye Chen, they would probably return today. Gathered a Thunder Shadow 2 people pillar power. If they failed to take Ye Chen, then he didn't know what kind of battle he would need in the future to kill Ye Chen. Hell Spurt, a masterpiece. It was the same move from before, the same finger. This time he pointed to Ye Chen's heart, and since it was the last blow of all his power, the speed was once again a little faster. The 2-tailed man Zhu Li did not watch the play, and immediately threw out hundreds of fist-sized dark blue fireballs from Ye Chen's side. This is the ability of the 2-tailed brigade, a fire with amazing temperature. Don't look as if this fireball is not good. However, it has the power close to Amaterasu, and can burn all the objects it touches. And because it is a tailed beast ability, it does not need any knot marks, which belongs to the best ninjutsu for sneak attack grappling. Faced with the entanglement of the 2, Ye Chen completely ignored it. When Lei Ying's hand hit Ye Chen's body, he didn't feel anything about touching the real thing. The next moment, he actually rushed directly from Ye Chen's slowly enlarged body. It was as if Ye Chen didn't exist at all. Immediately afterwards, Lei Ying hurriedly turned around and saw Ye Chen's body, and there were layers of spatial fluctuations. Space ability. No matter in any era, space capabilities are extremely rare, and at this time of World War II, the space capabilities that can be traced back are probably the flying thunder gods used by the 2nd generation Hokage Senju. And this trick used by Ye Chen is completely different from the flying thunder god between the 1,000 hands in the impression of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. Although the flying thunder god is strong, it needs a medium and coordinates, but Ye Chen seems to have removed his body directly through time and space ninjutsu. Although shocked in his heart, the 3rd generation of Lei Ying hurriedly increased his speed and left behind Ye Chen, because the next attack of the 2nd tail, and Doyle's move was also coming. These two moves, with his severely injured body at the moment, are absolutely inaccessible. Boom. Hundreds of explosions sounded, shaking the mountains for a while, and countless blue flames rose up into the sky. This is the move of the two-tailed man pillar force. Looking at the angry fire where Ye Chen was, the expression of the 3 generations of thunder shadows did not relax, because the scene of Ye Chen's previous body being blasted away and being able to recover was still in his mind, and he didn't know if this kind of fire could hurt Ye Chen. Fortunately, this blue flame came and went quickly, and Ye Chen's figure appeared in a blink of an eye. Seeing Ye Chen now, even Erwei and Lei Ying, they couldn't help but swallow their saliva, and there was a trace of despair in their eyes. Now Ye Chen's whole person turned into a 60-meter-tall, light blue giant. Giant body constantly emitted several meters of electric arcs, and the temperature around it was even higher to distort the air. And around the giant, there are still a lot of blue flames burning at this moment, but they can't touch the giant at all, as if that giant does not exist. Now Ye Chen is wearing dark blue samurai armor, a dark blue Tengu mask on his head, and a katana made entirely of lightning pinned to his waist. 2 wings on the back, and 3 pairs of arms. This image is a complete form of Susanoo. I was fortunate enough to see the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow who shot by Uchiha Madara and recalled his childhood shadow for the first time. It was this blue giant who slaughtered the ninjas of his Thunder country like ants. Ye Chen, this is naturally not Susanoo, but after he transformed Analu's ugly, gigantic Thunder God form, he came up with an image similar to Susanoo. Episode 62. In the Japanese cultural world of Hokage, Analu's Thor appearance is funny, but Susanoo's image is more domineering and amazing. In addition, Ye Chen was originally a fan of Ban, so he changed the second stage of his Thunder God mode into such a form. I have to say that just the appearance of this pulling wind has already made Ye Chen very satisfied. I didn't look at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, just glanced at it, and already showed a desperate look. Of course, if it was really compared, Ye Chen felt that his second gear of Thunder God mode might not be able to compare with the complete Susanoo. His body size alone is a little worse, at most it is similar to that of a mature body, and his complete body can reach a height of 100 meters. This move seemed to Ye Chen had simply become taller, but his entire body was completely composed of thunder energy. At this moment, even if he resisted the S-level thunder, there was no problem, and his defense and attack power were greatly improved. Because the so-called attribute restraint and elemental suppression are all based on strength, Ye Chen's thunder ability all burst out, and only with this Thunder God mode of an order of magnitude thunder or wind escape, it is possible to be injured. For example, this blue flame of the 2-tailed human pillar force burns on his body at this moment like tickling. And because all the lightning is stored in the body, even if a large-scale lightning is launched, it can be instantaneous without any charge, and the power will increase significantly. And because in this state, the entire body is still directly controlled by Ye Chen, instead of the mental control of Susanoo there is a short delay, so the movement will be more rapid and there will be no delay. This is Ye Chen's strongest move at the moment, the second gear of the Thunder God mode that integrates attack and defense. If Ye Chen can enter the Fruit Awakening stage, perhaps his Thunder God mode second gear can truly be compared with the complete body Susanoo. The Whirlpool Mito of that day also saw this move, and only recognized Ye Chen's super shadow level strength. Even she, for Uchiha Susanoo, actually has a certain psychological shadow, so once this trick is sent, even if she does nothing, it can actually give many shadow level a huge sense of oppression. Especially those who have seen Uchiha spots. Just when the second tail and the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow were shocked by the Thor mode, the elite Shinobu also struck. Thunder. Black Thunder Beast, this is his strongest blow to gather all the chakras, and it is also the capital that he can become an elite shinobi, because this move once seriously injured a shadow level powerhouse. As he drank, black thunder and lightning appeared in his hands, and then turned into a black saber-toothed tiger, which was nearly 30 meters in size. Lei Dun was originally the most difficult to plasticize the technique. This kid was actually able to create a lifelike tiger. It can be seen that his chakra control has reached a meticulous state. The next moment, the Black Thunder Tooth Beast directly rushed towards Ye Chen in front of him with lightning-fast speed. If he faced this move before, Ye Chen would probably only be able to resolve it by using blurring, but now he has absolute confidence in his Thunder God mode. Rumble. The black lightning hit Ye Chen's Thunder God body, but the attribute suppression in Lei Ying's imagination did not appear, but the Black Thunder Beast directly dissolved in an instant. It looked as if Ye Chen's lightning was the superior ability of this Black Thunder. Seeing this scene, Ye Chen was even more excited in his heart. Sure enough, any superiors and subordinates are all virtual, only the strongest users, not the strongest abilities. This elite Shaman's Black Thunder is not strong, and the energy has also reached the level of shadow level, but Ye Chen is a super shadow, and the two are not comparable at all, so even if it is the relationship between superiors and subordinates, he can't hurt Ye Chen at all. This is both the so-called quantitative change caused by qualitative change. The three ninjas of the Land of Thunder, who saw this scene, couldn't help but show expressions of despair. Don't look at the speed of the previous moves, it seems to be very simple, but those are all their moves at the bottom of the box. At this moment, they have fallen into weakness, and it is difficult to have combat power in a short time. Ye Chen, on the other hand, has just begun to show his power. Just as he was about to strike to solve a few people, Ye Chen turned his head to the left. Where was exactly where the previous Yao was. After seeing Ye Chen's terrifying Thunder God pattern, he finally did not dare to use his strongest tailed beast Jade without any reservations, and at this time, he had reached the level of 7 tails. You must know that the current Yaoi is not a Kairabi, and he cannot understand each other with the tailed beast, let alone retain his consciousness to use the tailed beast. If he turns into the state of 8 tails, he will be completely taken away by the tailed beast, and he will die on the spot. So now he has truly reached the limit. His consciousness is gradually disappearing, and the only obsession in his heart now is to hit this tailed beast Jade into Ye Chen. At this moment, in front of him, there was already a red-black tailed beast Jade that was larger than the previous 2 tailed beast Jade together. When Ye Chen saw this tailed beast Jade, he also frowned. This size of tailed beast Jade is already very close to the release of the complete body 9 tails, which is not comparable to the previous form of the tailed beast coat. The range of the explosion alone is probably more than 5 kilometers, which is the real nuclear bomb level. Although I don't know if the duration of such an explosion can exceed Ye Chen's blurring duration, Ye Chen does not dare to try. Because of his current physical strength, after using the Thor mode, I am afraid that he will no longer be able to support the blur for several consecutive minutes. So this time, he must face it head-on. And the 3 of Lei Ying, who had already fallen into despair, also noticed the state of Yaoi at this moment, and hurriedly ran away. They are not Ye Chen, this monster. If they eat this tailed beast Jade head-on, they will definitely die. Even if they are affected, it is estimated that they will lose their combat effectiveness. Ye Chen didn't have time to care about them at this time, and the next moment his right hand slowly came to him, and then he spread his 5 fingers and drank. Thunder God Jade. After a loud drink, countless arcs began to appear in Ye Chen's hand, and began to rotate and condense at high speed in his hand. 1 meter. 2 meters. In the blink of an eye, a rotating lightning ball, nearly 10 meters in size, appeared. The size of this lightning orb is actually much larger than the tailed beast Jade of the 8 tails. Seeing this scene, the 8-tailed human pillar force, with his only remaining consciousness, threw the tailed beast Jade directly towards Ye Chen. Ye Chen also blasted out the Thunder God Jade in his hand at the same time. Where the tailed beast Jade passed, regardless of any plant terrain, it was directly displaced to the flat ground, and only the less of one place was seen. And Thunder God Jade is even more terrifying. The temperature of heating on it directly melts the ground, turning into bright red magma, beating arcs, and there is a deafening roar that keeps coming. Episode 63. A kilometer away, that Thunder God Jade and tailed beast Jade collided, and then blue lightning began to collide with red-black energy. Suddenly, boom! The red-tailed beast Jade exploded first, triggering an explosion that enveloped a radius of several kilometers. Until this time, Ye Chen's Thunder God Jade had no effect, and in the blink of an eye he had already arrived in front of the 8-tailed human pillar force. Fortunately, although these Yaoi lost consciousness, they still had the instinct to fight. In an instant, a large number of chakras condensed, turning into a barrier-like energy body in front of him. After touching this barrier, Thunder God Jade exploded. In the blink of an eye, a dazzling blue flash appeared, and the surrounding 10 kilometers seemed to turn into daylight, followed by a huge explosion. Rumble. Prosperous. Prosperous. Unlike the explosion of the tailed beast Jade, the energy ball condensed by lightning exploded, but it was like thunder. And the aftermath of this explosion shrouded the red aftermath of the tailed beast Jade in the blink of an eye, completely turning into a blue energy wave. When viewed from the sky, it looks like a semicircle of blue light waves, buckled upside down on the ground. The range of this explosion is also extremely terrifying, reaching a diameter of nearly 8 kilometers. Ye Chen's position was completely shrouded in. This time the explosion, even the Konoha civilian troops who were ordered by Ye Chen to wait in place, were all clear to see. The troops of 3,000 people were also arranged for more than 10 kilometers in a defensive line, and they were in operation, and suddenly the eyes of the perceptual person turned white, as if their eyes were looking at the sun, which made people unable to open their eyes. As early as the first explosion of the tailed beast Jade earlier, they had actually been slightly affected here, and this time they were directly blown away by the fierce wind generated by the explosion. If it weren't for Ye Chen's order to establish the location of the defensive line, which was 10 kilometers away from the battlefield, they would have been injured by the aftermath of the explosion. However, just after they regained their eyesight, an even more terrifying wind blew, flying sand and stones for a while, and many low-strength subordinates could not even stand on their feet in battle. Then they saw the blue-white explosion in the distance, and the mushroom cloud in the sky. Look! Exploded again. This time is even more exaggerated than just now. Which one was the tailed beast Jade just now? Even the human pillar force was sent, and the country of thunder was too desperate. Do you have the leisure to care about this? Lord Ye Chen is alone in the face of human pillar power and thunder shadow, and now I am afraid that there are fewer fierce and more abominable. If the 3 generations of adults also sent the 9 tails, why would we be so passive? Isn't the tail beast Jade red-black? Why did it change to blue and white this time? I remember that Lord Ye Chen's blood succession limit seems to be a blue-white lightning handle. Could it be that this explosion was created by Lord Ye Chen? While everyone was talking, the 10 Shainin who led the team looked at each other, and they all saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. This level of explosion is probably beyond the tailed beast Jade. If it is really made by Ye Chen, then Ye Chen's strength is not stronger than that tailed beast. You must know that the country of thunder has the power of the 8-tailed human pillar, which is second only to the existence of the 9-tailed. At this time, the 50-year-old Shainin said to a 30-year-old Shainin, "Sure Yen, you have good eyesight, find a way to go around there and take a look, no matter what, you can't have black eyes like this." The Shainin named Sure Yen nodded heavily. He was now also curious about what kind of battle Ye Chen was experiencing, and this kind of information had to be heard anyway. Even if he loses his life in the end, he can't let Lord Ye Chen's sacrifice go to waste. He didn't dare to expect Ye Chen to come back alive, but Ye Chen's opponent intelligence that he exchanged with his life still had to be explored. On this side of the frontal battlefield, when Ye Chen's Thunder God Jade completely disappeared, his figure still stood in the center, and the second gear of Thunder God mode was still maintained, which shows that this terrifying aftermath did not cause him much damage. It's just that if someone looks closely, they will find that Ye Chen's Thunder God second gear has shrunk by nearly 10 meters, and now it is more than 50 meters. But the price of all this is worth it. At least this move has helped him almost completely destroy the 4 high-end combat forces of the Thunder Country. As for how did his Thunder God Jade come about? The tailed beast has tailed beast Jade, and Ye Chen, the Thunder God, naturally has his moves. Thunder God Jade actually put it bluntly, it is to replicate the power storage method of the spiral pill, and replace the original energy source without a tribute chakra with thunder energy. But it is simple to say, lightning is extremely difficult to shape, like Ratchet's powerful thunder ninjutsu, although the power is amazing, but the shape is almost not modified, it is just a simple arc. Therefore, the lightning spiral pill, how can it be said that it is manufactured? At least it also needs the control of the immortal mode level, it is possible to do it. However, Ye Chen used lightning energy that was as familiar as a part of his body, so he was able to condense lightning directly into a spiral pill. Now the 3rd generation of Lei Ying, who barely ran out for a few kilometers, has completely fainted on the ground, although he did not die on the spot, but he wants to no longer lie in the hospital for half a month, and it is estimated that he will not be able to continue to participate in the battle. And because he broke an arm, there is no medical ninjutsu with a severed limb for the time being, and his future combat power may be greatly reduced. In the past, the situation of pressing the ape flying sun chopping and the big Nogi fighting, I am afraid that it will never appear again. As for the elite Shainin, because he was not injured, he was not directly stunned, but he was still incapacitated, with countless scars on his body, even his clothes were shattered, and blood was also bleeding. At first glance, his situation seems to be a little worse than that of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. After all, he is only an elite upper shinobi, and his physical strength is far from comparable to the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. However, the 2-tailed human pillar Liu Yehua, at this moment, except for the tailed beast's coat all disappeared, there were no scars on his body. This is only because the tailed beast coat resists the damage, and she is now in a short period of time, I am afraid that she can no longer borrow the power of the tailed beast, so she is just the early stage of the shadow level. When facing Ye Chen, it is difficult to even protect herself. That elite Shainin Doyle, although he was injured, but still stood up by willpower, and said to Yuzu Yehua, "Master Erwei, if you take the Hokage and leave quickly, even if I fight hard, I will delay Ye Chen." Doyle is certainly a rare elite shinobi in the Land of Thunder, but Thunder Shadow and Urtail are more important to the Country of Thunder. As long as the 2 of them do not die, the Country of Thunder is not considered to be hurt at all. Ireo glanced at him, nodded heavily, and then picked up Lei Ying and wanted to leave. Before leaving, she looked back at Ye Chen, this man who was like a god under the heavens. Today let her see for a long time, maybe this is the real peak of the ninja world. Thinking of this, he muttered, Konoha is worthy of being the strongest in the ninja world, and after the death of the 1,000-hand pillars, he defected to Uchiha Madara and produced another Ye Chen. Episode 64. Ye Chen looked at the damage he had caused, but he was a little dissatisfied. After all, Daidara's self-detonation can reach a range of 10 kilometers in diameter. Of course, his Thunder God Jade may not be as wide as self-detonation, but the power is definitely one level higher. Naturally, he sensed that Ireo wanted to go, but he still had more trouble to deal with now, and I was afraid that he would not have a chance to leave Ireo and Thunder Shadow. Turning his head, Ye Chen glanced at the center of his Thunder God Jade explosion in the distance, and at this moment, the eight-tailed human pillar Li Bu Di Bai had completely disappeared. In its place, there was a purple-red bull demon with 8 tails behind it. It's the 8-tailed cow ghost. At this moment, the bull ghost still has 2 horns on the top of his head, because he has not yet been cut off by the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadows because of his violent walk. Since the new arrival of the world, Yao was the first to drink loudly. Roar. The 8-tailed beast is worthy of being the only powerful tailed beast of the 9-tailed, but this roar is the ground is shaking, and the already empty ground is first blown up by the wind and sand. Subsequently, countless cracks were shaken. This guy is not simple. If you talk about combat effectiveness, it is also a proper shadow level peak, and even if it is fought by the tailed beast and the cow ghost itself, rather than controlled by the human pillar force, it is likely to be close to the super shadow level. Even if it is not a super shadow level, the strength of that shadow level peak must be there. And Ye Chen just used a shot of Thunder God Jade, which consumes a lot of money, and now he can support at most 2 more shots, and the second gear of his Thunder God mode will be completely invalid. But the 8 tails are different. The real tailed beast is not consumed, they are rapidly extracting chakra anytime and anywhere. That speed is faster than the real immortal body. And since Yao is originally embodied, then the unfortunate person, Zhu Li Bu Di Bai, is probably already dead on the spot. This also blames him for his bad luck, but met Ye Chen, this monster. There are several people in the world who can blast the tail beast Jade, and Ye Chen is such a one, and he also met, although at the last moment Bu Di Bai resisted, but did not change his fate. Looking at the 8-tailed figure in front of him, which was no less than his height, Ye Chen also fell into thought. It should not be difficult for his strength to take this Yaoi, the key is whether he wants to do it or not. Killing Yaoi can certainly eliminate a hidden danger, but after at least 10 years, Yaoi will be difficult to regroup. At that time, if Ye Chen intends to collect the tailed beast and become a 10-tailed human pillar power, so as to reach the 6th level, I am afraid that he will have to wait for more than 10 years. If you don't kill Yao, then Ye Chen can't seal it if he subdues it, and he can only bring it back to Konoha, but such a big guy, without a kaleidoscope chakra eye illusion, I'm afraid it's difficult to make it obedient. If you are left here at the border like this, you will be caught by Jonin sooner or later, and it will be a bit of a great opportunity for nothing. After thinking about it, Ye Chen still decided to subdue the Yaoi first, but if it didn't work, he tried to stun the Yaoi, and then took it away. However, this idea Ye Chen knows that it is unlikely to be realized. The 8-tailed beast is the slippery of several tailed beasts, you must either kill him, otherwise it is difficult to control it, it has the life-saving skill of a tentacle stand-in. Even in the face of the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, he can escape by relying on this trick. Ye Chen's heart network perception and insight are very strong, but the probability is that he can't recognize this trick. After the 8-tailed bull ghost roared, he immediately discovered Ye Chen's existence. As a creature that existed at the beginning of the establishment of the ninja sect, he can be described as an encyclopedia of the ninja world. So when he saw Ye Chen's second gear of Thunder God, he immediately thought of something, and then said it with his mouth. This is Uchiha Susanoo? Inter Susanoo is not present when it is used. However, when Uchiha was driving a complete body and directly hitting the land of thunder, it was forced to come out to meet the enemy. At that time, it was beaten very miserably, and it was almost dissipated after being beaten in just 2 moves. If it weren't for the original Thunder Shadow saving the scene in time, I am afraid that it would have been killed on the spot and waited more than 10 years before it could be reborn. Thinking of this, the face of the beast of the bull ghost actually showed an anthropomorphic expression of horror. Ye Chen saw the other party's expression. It seems that he has also seen Susanoo's ability, and sure enough, it is a good choice to transform the Thunder God mode into Susa's appearance, and this is the first time to use it, and it has already stunned many people. In the future, I am afraid that many people, thinking of their Thor mode, will unconsciously produce shadows. However, the cow ghost is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years, and the next moment he noticed the abnormality. That's not right. Uchiha Susanoo is twice as tall as this, and it is purine chakra condensed. This kid seems to be pure lightning condensation. Ye Chen was not in the mood to explain more to Yaoi, and said directly, Bull Ghost, I'll give you 2 choices, either die or obediently follow me back to Konoha. Hearing Ye Chen's words, Neo Ghost swallowed his saliva. No matter who Ye Chen and Madara were stronger, but judging from the previous battle, this kid was at least stronger than him. After thinking about it, he was just about to say something, but behind Ye Chen's Thunder God body, a white slash with a diameter of 100 meters suddenly appeared. Ye Chen's heart network was so powerful, he had already detected the abnormality long before the master of this slash struck, so he seemed to be intimidating Yaoi, but in fact, his hand had already held the knife at his waist. Facing the slash that suddenly appeared behind him, Ye Chen's face was also quite solemn. The diameter of this slash is already extremely amazing, even Ye Chen, only by turning on the second gear of Thunder God mode, can this effect be achieved. It can be seen that the person who made the move must have extremely profound attainments in sword skills. Ye Chen then slashed out without showing weakness, and he in the second rank of Thor, even if he slashed at random, he had the momentum to slash everything. So, the blade condensed by the lightning bolt came out of its sheath and immediately turned into an equally amazing blue slash, and then it came first and directly collided with the white slash that attacked Ye Chen. The two slashes only touched for an instant, and the white slashes were cut off and then dissipated in the air. And Ye Chen's knife is still moving forward unabated. After leaping forward for a distance of nearly 5 kilometers, this slash slowly disappeared, and the 100-meter peaks passed along the way were cut in half from the middle, leaving a ravine tens of meters deep on the ground. However, Ye Chen knew that his slashing seemed amazing, but the speed of his opponent was not bad, and he had already dodged in the first moment he struck. The main thing is that the distance between the two is quite far. If it is a little closer, Ye Chen has the confidence that before the other party dodges, he will directly kill this opponent with a knife. The next moment, there was a sound of clicking footsteps, and an old figure slowly walked out of the dense forest. He is wearing black armor, his face is wrinkled and his hair is white, but the katana he holds exudes an amazing chakra. Ye Chen called out his name as soon as he came out, Sarutobi Sasuke. Episode 65. Seeing Sasuke flying out of the ape flying out, Ye Chen's face was also very gloomy. The conflict between him and the ape flying Sun Chop, to put it bluntly, is still this ape flying Sasuke made a ghost, at least during the time when he monitored the ape flying Sun Chop. Most of the orders are actually not the ape flying Sun Chop, but the father of the ape flying Sasuke, directly to the day Chop. This shows that the nominal name of the Fire Nation in front of him is the true supreme power of the Fire Country. And the other party chose to strike at himself at this time. Naturally he had been prepared for a long time, and Ye Chen knew this precisely because he knew this. Previously, when facing several masters of the Thunder Country, although he was always deeply passive, he still did not forcibly open a big move, because he had to guard against this old fox at all times. This old fellow's heart is very deep, and Lei Ying's stunned blue is even more played. Unknowingly, the Land of Thunder had lost an eight-tailed, and it was even more difficult for Thunder Shadow to fight again in a short time, and even their way back had been blocked by the allied forces of the land of Tanakuni and the new army that Konoha had just arrived. In this battle, even if Ye Chen does not continue to intervene, the Country of Thunder will be a complete failure, and in the next 10 years, it is estimated that the Country of Thunder will be unable to attack Konoha. This is the strength of Sarutobi Sasuke. Not only does he have the strength of the peak of the shadow level, but also exerts the vertical and horizontal to the extreme. With the help of the power of other countries, he is maximizing the benefits with a little manpower. The eight-tailed bull ghost in the distance was blinded when he saw that it was Sarutobi Sasuke who made the move. First of all, the bull ghost is the highest combat power of the Country of Thunder, and with the convenience of the pillar power of the eight-tailed man, he knows that Sarutobi Sasuke has hidden in the shadows and has become the daimyo of the Country of Fire behind Konoha. But isn't Ye Chen a ninja of the Fire Country? Why does the daimyo of the Fire Country want to do something to him? In the end, Yao is just a tailed beast, and it is impossible to understand the intrigue between humans and the struggle for power. But then he found a turning point. Sarutobi Sasuke's strength is also the peak of the shadow level. With this old guy here, Ye Chen must have no time to take care of him. Thinking of the Yao did not dare to stay, hurriedly retreated. The Country of Fire, it is never afraid to go. This bird country is very evil. The existing Uchiha spot has come out of Ye Chen, and there is its nemesis 9 llamas, or continue to go to the Country of Thunder to mix. Anyway, he saw that the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows were seriously injured, and he had no time to take care of it in a short time. Ye Chen really didn't care about Yao anymore, because Sarutobi Sasuke's chakra really shocked him. This old guy actually has a chakra that is a little deeper than the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. But thinking about it, Sarutobi Sasuke is a ninja who existed in the Warring States period, and from which era can he live to the present? None of them are good to match. Coupled with the name of the famous King Bee in the later life, Sasuke Uchiha, but it pays tribute to him. People admire his strength even more. After all, he has been recognized by the Uchiha clan. What's more, Ye Chen knew all the plans of this old fellow, so it was not only Sarutobi Sasuke who made a move this time. Sure enough, after Sarutobi Sasuke appeared, 13 people appeared from all directions. 12 of them looked almost identical in appearance, and all had a belt with fire characters printed on their waist. These 12 people are the Guardian 12 Ninja, and the most secondary strength is Upper Ninja, and 3 of them have the level of Elite Upper Ninja. And all of them were bald, which made Ye Chen think of the place where he appeared in the original work, the Temple of Fire. In addition to this Guardian 12 Ninja, there is also an old acquaintance of Ye Chen, Ape Flying Sun Slash. The father has personally shot. The son naturally can't watch the play. No, he has been serving as the commander in the village, and the ape who can't shrink his head also shows his true body at this moment. Such a battle, even in the face of Ye Chen, who was completely victorious, I am afraid that it can cause a lot of trouble. not to mention Ye Chen after a big battle. Ye Chen faced the attack of so many people, not only did not panic, but actually said calmly, "Ape Flying Sun, are you going to have a showdown?" Seeing that Ye Chen didn't even scream at the Hokage, Ape Fei Sun's face suddenly became a little gloomy. Sarutobi Sasuke, on the other hand, clapped his palms and said, "Good Ye Chen, I saw the previous battle, sure enough, it is a hero out of a teenager, give you a few more years, I'm afraid you will have to catch up with Uchiha." Ye Chen ignored his praise and instead said sarcastically, "Just better than your immature son." The meaning in these words is naturally that he is more suitable for being a Hokage than an ape-flying son. Sarutobi Sasuke said with a sigh, "It's a pity that you are not from the ape-flying clan, otherwise I will definitely fully support you in the next session." Ye Chen said with a smile, "You mean to eat me? Do you really think that such a few people can take me down?" Hearing Ye Chen's words, Sarutobi Sasuke no longer had a calm face, but said with a solemn face, "You are indeed very strong, even if we go up together, I am afraid that we will not be able to win you, but many times, victory or defeat is not determined by strength, and it is also important here." Saying that, the ape-flying Sasuke pointed to his brain. When Ye Chen heard this, he suddenly became a little jealous, although he monitored the correspondence between Sarutobi Sasuke's father and son. But it is difficult to guarantee that there are some. Sarutobi Sasuke made his own decision, but did not talk to Sarutobi Hinata. The place where the daimyo lives, but it is nearly 100 kilometers away from Konoha, where can Ye Chen monitor? Thinking of this, Ye Chen ran his own seeing and hearing to the maximum, and countless pictures flashed for a while, and he began to predict the future. That's right, Ye Chen's seeing and hearing has reached the same level of foreknowledge of the future as Katakuri in the cultivation of the Spirit Time House, and he has 3 seconds. This is different from simply anticipating the enemy's attack, but it is a real action that will be predicted in seconds, involving the ability of the law of time. It was only about 3 seconds, but it was enough for him to see what he was going to face. Knowing the opponent's next move, Ye Chen suddenly dripped cold sweat on his forehead. If it weren't for his ability to foresee the future, I'm afraid he would probably have to explain it here. The next moment, Sarutobi Sasuke waved his hand and drank heavily, root of the heart. Trigger. With this loud drink, the eyes of the Guardian 12 ninja suddenly turned white, and the forehead burst into bruises, and then began to seal like a walking dead. And as if in line, rushing towards Ye Chen one by one. Ray 4 Elephant Seal. The first one to rush up was a Shainin, who was using a sealing technique that could seal everything within a radius of hundreds of meters to the caster's body. But the price of this move will be the life of the spellcaster, and if it is conscious, I am afraid that few people will commit suicide like this. There were also 9 other people, standing in the corner where Ye Chen had to escape, and also began the 4 Elephant Seal. Episode 66. A total of 10 Guardian Ninja use this trick together, although it is not as good as a shadow-level powerhouse like Tuanzang. One person can seal more than 500 meters, but it is still no problem to seal 1 or 200 meters. The combined range of 10 people can also cover a distance of more than 1 kilometer. The other 2 elite upper ninja-level Guardian Ninja jumped into the air at this time, ready to intercept Ye Chen in the air. This time, Ye Chen entered the heavens and the earth, and the front and back were blocked left and right. And Sarutobi Sasuke retreated as soon as he took Sarutobi Hinata after his subordinates began to act. As the ape of the Hokage, when he saw this scene, he also swallowed his saliva, and he sincerely admired his father's means. The first is the root of the heart that controls people's hearts with one move, so that the 12 Guardian Ninja will die generously for him directly. Then came the 4 Elephant Seal, a move that was captured when the 1,000 hands were destroyed, but because it required life, it was never used. Another point in this trick is to train ninjas who are good at sealing in advance, otherwise the 4 Elephant Seals cannot be learned overnight. It can be seen that Sarutobi Sasuke, after obtaining this technique, began to plan as soon as possible. And Richo, as the first person to come into contact with this technique, has never considered that this trick can be used like this all these years. If you think about it this way, as long as you have this trick, even if you are facing a super shadow level powerhouse, you may be able to kill it directly. Of course, it can only be a surprise, and after knowing the opponent's actions in advance like Ye Chen, the effect of this move is very small. At this time, the ape flying sun slash could not help but covet the other sealing techniques of the Whirlpool clan. You must know that the 4 elephant seals are just one of the dowries of Uzumaki Mido, and there are countless exquisite sealing techniques in the Uzumaki clan. For example, the gossip seal that seals the tailed beast, this move has always been the death of Uzumaki Mido, causing the ape-flying sun chop to never be able to attack Mido, and then personally cultivate a 9-tailed human pillar force. In his heart, Ape Fei said silently, "It seems that the matter about the Vortex clan is about to be put on the agenda." Ye Chen looked at this guardian ninja's action, but there was no surprise on his face, because he had already known everything from what he had seen and heard. That's right, what this ape-flying Sasuke prepared for Ye Chen was the 4 elephant seals that Tuanzo had used in the original work. This move is used in the hands of Danzo, and it is also directly able to kill Sasuke, who has a kaleidoscope in seconds. If it weren't for Obito's timely strike at that time and saved Sasuke with divine power, I'm afraid that Sasuke, who was sick in the second middle school, would have been directly sealed by this move. Because the seal of this move will produce a certain gravitational force, it is almost difficult for enemies within the casting range to exert their speed. So the best way to avoid this trick is to use space ninjutsu. As for directly killing the caster, it is useless, because as long as this move is used, the person who casts the spell is already dead, so even if the person dies, the sealing technique will still have an effect continuously. Now Ye Chen looked at it at a glance. At least 10 people used it at the same time. What was this concept? As long as they control the distance, they can at least cover the range of kilometers. Even his lightning speed in this area may not be able to be dodged by moving alone. Therefore, the way he defused this trick was the same as Obito, and he used Shinwei for the first time. The next moment, around Ye Chen, spatial fluctuations of divine power began to appear. Immediately after that, in the blink of an eye, he who was originally sealed by the 12 Li-4 elephant seals completely disappeared in the center of the 12. This scene was not seen by Sarutobi Sasuke, who was fleeing, and Sarutobi Hinata. And they never expected that Ye Chen actually had spatial ninjutsu. Because the previous battle between Ye Chen and Jonin affected a very wide range, they didn't dare to get too close, so they couldn't see that Ye Chen had used spatial abilities. After Ye Chen's figure completely disappeared, the 4 elephant seals of the 12 ninja were finally completely unfolded. At one time, the radius of nearly 1 kilometer was all shrouded in black sealing techniques like ink, and the places where the sealing technique passed, whether it was dirt and gravel, or insects under the ground, were all sealed. This sealing technique came and went quickly, but it disappeared completely in a few minutes, leaving only 12 corpses on the ground. At this moment, in the original location where Ye Chen was, a void with a radius of thousands of meters was formed. Where there is nothing but air at this moment, there are hundreds of meters of deep holes under the surface, as if they have just experienced a meteorite impact, but the edge of the crater is extremely flat. In the distance, Sarutobi Sasuke and the 2 who avoided the 4 elephant seal, and when they looked back at this moment, they saw the appearance of this ruined wall. Seeing that the ape flying sun chop here also swallowed his saliva, the scope of this move may not be comparable to the tailed beast Jade, but it is touched and dies, and there is no possibility of survival at all. Father, these 12 people, you should have been preparing for a long time. The words of the 3rd generation made his father Sasuke fly back to his senses, and then said with a frown, "It's just a few years, this is my last whole card, if this can't win Ye Chen, I'm afraid our clan is doomed." They tore their faces today and directly killed Ye Chen. If they failed to take Ye Chen after today, they would definitely perish in the future. Ape Flying Sun slashing strength is good. Ape Flying Sasuke also has a shadow level peak, but in the face of Ye Chen, who may be a super shadow, even if the 2 of them join forces, the end will not be better than the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. It stands to reason that Ye Chen's chakra is now undetectable, so Ye Chen should be sealed, but years of combat experience have made Sarutobi Sasuke's heart always shrouded in a haze. This feeling is very mysterious, not even a sixth sense, but it has helped him avoid many life and death crises. The most recent time was when he faced Uchiha Susanoo. At that time, Madara had just mastered it, but he had a premonition for the first time, so he fled in advance so that he was not killed by Uchiha Madara. Thinking of this ape flying Sasuke, he shouted seriously, "You use that trick." This Ye Chen has something strange. Sarutobi Sasuke's words were directly given to the 3 generations, but out of respect for his father's order, he still subconsciously took out a scroll. Inverse, Psychic Art. With a bang, a white smoke appeared, and then the figure of the ape flying sun slashed and completely disappeared on this front line. And the next moment, Ye Chen's body of the Thunder God had already appeared in front of Sasuke Flying Ape. At this time, Ye Chen did not show any signs of injury at all, and the electric arc around his body did not decay at all. And above his right hand, he has already accumulated a Thunder God Jade that is larger than before. "It's over, Sarutobi Sasuke." Ye Chen's words fell, and the Thunder God Jade flew out directly, and exploded at a distance of no more than 1 meter in front of Sasuke Flying Sasuke. Episode 67. Ye Chen's appearance was extremely sudden, and although that ape flying Sasuke had a premonition, he didn't have time to cast any ninjutsu. After all, although he is strong, he is still only a mortal, and it is impossible to cast spells without seal. Looking at the almost mushy face of the Thunder God Jade in front of him, Sarutobi Sasuke knew that he was finished. Rumble. Thunder God Jade exploded instantly, completely submerging this land that had already experienced several explosions once again. In the distance, Doyle, who was trying to block Ye Chen to buy time for his teammates, had no chance to escape at this moment. He was already seriously injured, and the reason why he stayed was just to hope that Ye Chen could spend a little more time when killing him to buy time for his teammates. But in just a few minutes, he witnessed so many things, from Yao being scared away by Ye Chen, to Sarutobi Sasuke, the daimyo of the Fire Nation, actually wanting Ye Chen's life. And Ye Chen easily dissolved, the extremely terrifying seal of the 4 elephants before. All of this made Doyle understand that Ye Chen's strength was too strong, and he was not a shadow-level powerhouse at all. In the face of this absolute strength, any intrigue and trickery are futile. That ape-flying Sasuke's plan is already perfect. If it is aimed at 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, I am afraid that they can succeed, but unfortunately they are facing the monster Ye Chen. Looking at the aftermath of that Thunder God Jade, which was slowly spreading towards him, Doyle, who was already exhausted, could no longer move a single bit. However, even before he died, Ye Chen, who could see this heavenly god, could be regarded as letting him live this life in vain. When the aftermath of this explosion completely dissipated, Doyle's body was completely scorched, and even his face was difficult to distinguish. This time he was dead and could not die again. As the center of the explosion, Ye Chen's position once again appeared a terrifying deep pit. Looking at the figure in the deep pit, Ye Chen had to sigh that although Sasuke did not have the Thunder Chakra mode of the Thunder Shadow, the strength of the flesh was worthy of being a strong man in the Warring States period. I saw that the hard armor on Sasuke's body had all been blasted to pieces at this moment, but his body was still extremely complete. Although he was already soaked in blood, and he couldn't stop trembling because of the arc on his body, Ye Chen could feel that this old guy still had a breath and did not die on the spot. Now Sarutobi Sasuke has reached the end of the strong crossbow, even a sub-ninja imp can easily result in his life. And Ye Chen was relieved at this time, at least today's crisis was resolved. It's just a pity that the old boy who flew to the sun actually ran away, and Ye Chen's shot was so slow for a moment, but he was actually captured. Remembering that it was Sarutobi Sasuke who reminded him at that time, Ye Chen admired this old guy even more. As for the reverse psychic technique used by the ape flying sun slash, Ye Chen still had heard of it. This move was the reverse use of psychic, and psychic art was naturally also spatial ninjutsu, so he was able to dodge such a wide range of moves. Sasuke in the original book only escaped a similar move by channeling 10,000 snakes hidden in his body. But the use of the 3rd generation is a little more clever. He has prepared the teleportation scroll in advance. As long as this side is triggered, the scroll on the other side will react, and the ninja will also channel him away. This move can be said to be the basic principle of the Flying Thunder God, and Ye Chen even thought that maybe the art of the Flying Thunder God was born out of the art of channeling. Of course, if you want to do this, you need to have the strength of the ninja beast to reach the shadow level, and this alone is difficult to do. After all, this is not the Flying Thunder God, the ninja beast does not have enough chakra, and it cannot be psychic to reach the shadow level ape flying sun slash. Walking up to Sarutobi Sasuke, Ye Chen said, "Your plan is very good, you really used your brains, but unfortunately my strength is better than your resourcefulness." Listening to Ye Chen's words, Sarutobi Sasuke couldn't respond. He was now completely unconscious, because of the super high voltage. If it were not for his own excellent quality, he would have lost consciousness and coma now. Ye Chen continued at this time, "Seeing that you are dying, let you be a fool, my perception is very strong, I know all your plans, including Mito's affairs, and the Uzumaki clan." Hearing this, Sarutobi Sasuke, who was unable to speak, widened his eyes. He has always been mentioning the monitoring of the crystal ball of the waterproof, so many things are not done in Konoha, and those things that need to be discussed with the 3 generations are mostly correspondence. And if the letters come and go, as long as the ape flying sun shop is not opened in Konoha, naturally no one can monitor. But since Ye Chen said it now, it means that his range of perception exceeds the range of the entire Konoha. At this time, Sarutobi Sasuke no longer expected anything from his son. He knew that this fight must end with Ye Chen's victory. Not only is Ye Chen's strength reaching the super shadow level, but more importantly, Ye Chen has mastered the movements of his opponent, and knows that he will not lose 100 battles. This truth Sasuke deeply believes. And this kind of Hokage level political struggle, once it fails, Sarutobi Sasuke knows better than anyone that the purge of the Senju clan back then was handled by him personally. Paul. Protect. Good Konoha. But at this dying moment, he surprisingly did not intercede for the clansmen, but let Ye Chen protect Konoha. In fact, Sarutobi Sasuke knows better than anyone, even if Ye Chen promised him at this time, but what to do in the end is not certain. Since Ape-Face Sasuke dares to destroy the Thousand Hands clan, he has long expected that one day the Ape-Face clan will also be liquidated. The only thing he could not feel at ease when he was dying was this Konoha, who had seen the growth with his own eyes, and he and Uzumaki Mito were people of the same era, witnessing the establishment of Konoha and witnessing the peak of Konoha. Having reached his peak, he didn't want Konoha to decline no matter what. People are often like this, fighting for fame and fortune all their lives, and only when they die can they realize what they really want. When Ye Chen heard his last words, he actually let himself protect Konoha, and he couldn't help but feel a little. Ding. Given the current situation of the host, the following 3 options are given. Option 1, agree to the request, and in World War II, defeat Mizukage, Tokage, Thunder, Kazekage, and Hanzo, and turn the tide to protect Konoha. Reward, complete bloodline between the Thousand Hand Pillars. Option 2, ignore the request and only care about the battlefield where Jonin is located. Reward, kaleidoscope riding wheel eye. Option 3, deny the request and destroy Konoha. Reward, bird fruit phantom beast species immortal bird ability. The system will judge which reward to give based on the host's behavior. Episode 68. Ye Chen, who was originally a little blinded, was even more puzzled after seeing the system jump out. According to his previous guess, most of the options of the system will only appear on the characters who appear in the original book, and the heavier the weight, the easier it is to come out, and the better the reward may be. But this ape-flying Sasuke didn't even have an image, just appeared in the mouths of others. Such a character can actually give such a good reward. Maybe it's because the original male number 2 Sasuke has the same name as him? Ye Chen thought about it for a moment and gave up thinking about this problem, and instead considered the rewards of these 3 options. The first option can be described as Ye Chen's most satisfying, and the reward is exactly the bloodline between the Thousand Hand Pillars that he wants most at the moment. Thinking about it, he was almost certain to take the bloodline of Uchiha, and if he obtained the bloodline between the Thousand Hand Pillars, it was equivalent to Indra Azura bloodline. Future achievements must be comparable to the 6 immortals of Datama Yui. Even after having the bloodline of the 2, Ye Chen has a high probability that he will have the possibility of awakening the Sharingan and Mudan by himself. After all, the reward given by the system is the bloodline, not a simple ability, and both Sharingan and Mudan are blood succession limits. As long as the bloodline is right, anyone may awaken. The second option was completely ignored by Ye Chen. No matter what the consideration, the kaleidoscope was really minimally improved for him. His own second gear of Thor mode is already no less than an ordinary kaleidoscope of Susanoo, at most 2 more kaleidoscope level abilities. As for the third option, let him destroy Konoha. No matter what the reason, he doesn't need to destroy Konoha now. After all, in his political struggle with Sarutobi Hinata, he has now gained the advantage. The position of the future Hokage is almost fixed, so why destroy your own village? However, the difficulty of the first option is still there, to Ye Chen to defeat the shadows of the 4 major powers one after another, as well as the demigod Hanzo recognized by the entire ninja world. Thunder Shadow he has now defeated, there should be no need to fight a second time. As for the other 3 Shadow Earth Shadow and Wind Shadow, there is a high probability that he will rush to the Land of Rain. Then Ye Chen must go to the Land of Rain first. After all, there are his 3 targets present. The last Water Shadow can be done slowly, because Ye Chen has already learned a little news from Sasuke's plan, so the Water Shadow can be placed last. By the time he finished thinking about this, Sasuke on the ground had already had air in and out, and it seemed that it would not be long before he was killed. Looking at the dying person, Ye Chen said silently, Konoha will surely reach a new peak under my management, you just watch honestly over there. Hearing Ye Chen's words, the dying ape-flying Sasuke finally showed a relieved smile, and then his eyes gradually became dull. After confirming it on Yushin.com, Ye Chen was sure that Sarutobi Sasuke, the former ninja world, the daimyo of the Fire Nation, was already dead. He didn't do much more about Sarutobi Sasuke's corpse. After all, the other party died quite strongly, and it was not impossible to leave a whole corpse. Until this time, Ye Chen finally cancelled the second gear of his Thor mode. He knew that since Ape Flying Sun was gone, he would definitely not have the courage to come back, because in the case of singling out, that old guy was definitely not his opponent. After cancelling the Thor mode, Ye Chen suddenly felt a sense of exhaustion coming. Immediately afterwards, Ye Chen directly knelt on one knee. He knew that his physical strength had been seriously overdrawn, although it seemed that he only used 2 shots of Thunder God Jade in total, but the power of the second shot was increased. Coupled with the consumption of other moves, he is almost at the limit, and now he is at most a shadow level, and he wants to recover his physical strength. I'm afraid it's time to rest for a while. However, he did not rush to rest, but stumbled to Sarutobi Sasuke's body. Then with a wave of his right hand, a thunderbolt doppelganger like him appeared, and within Sarutobi Sasuke's clothes, an arm-length scroll was turned out. The material of this scroll was quite extraordinary, and even Ye Chen's Thunder God Jade was not directly destroyed. What was recorded in it must be something extremely important to Sarutobi Sasuke, so Ye Chen became interested. Although Ye Chen came to be interested, he did not go directly to take it out. After all, ninjas' personal items generally make some organs. The doppelganger made by Ye Chen, after taking out the scroll, opened it directly, but did not encounter the mechanism. It seems that this item Sasuke did not move. After carefully observing the contents inside, Rao is Ye Chen, whose strength has now reached the super shadow, and his eyes can't help but shine. This is a scroll that records ninjutsu, and because of its limited size, only 3 ninjutsu are recorded in it. They are a heart root that controls people's hearts. This move can plant spells in the hearts of subordinates, and can kill subordinates with the intention of the spellcaster at critical times, or directly control the thinking of subordinates. I thought that the previous Guardian 12 ninjas, it was because of this move that they would launch the 4-elephant seals so fiercely. Ye Chen even guessed that the roots that later belonged to Tuanzang were probably mastered by mastering this trick to be able to loyally encircle the elites of the major families to their subordinates. As for the second move, it was the 4-elephant seal, which appeared before, which recorded in detail the cultivation method of the 4-elephant seal. The last trick is to seal the ghouls with good results in the original book. The third generation used this trick to seal the hands of the big snake pill in the original work, which can be said to make people laugh off the big teeth, but the fourth generation used it well, so bad that he sealed a complete 9 tails. This move belongs to the kind of move that once you are entangled, then no matter how strong your strength is, it is difficult to escape. It is also one of the top ones in sealing. Ye Chen also suspected that if he hadn't made such a decisive move before, he would probably have come to him when he hit this ape-flying Sasuke in the end, right? Ye Chen is now very glad that he made his decision, and his shot was as fast as lightning at that time, so that he did not have to experience this trick himself. After getting Sarutobi Sasuke, Ye Chen opened the heart net to check the next 4 weeks, and found the corpse of the elite shinobu in the distance, and he still admired this kid. After seeing his own strength, he actually had the courage to break off, which can be regarded as the honor of death. But then Ye Chen discovered the problem, that is, a few kilometers away from this battlefield, there was actually a superior shinobi of his own unit rushing over. This is not a good thing. If this kid remembers correctly, it seems to be called Shiryen, and Ye Chen happened to be on his way forward and found the figure of the dark part. It is obvious that this is the dark part brought by the ape-flying sun, and it is estimated that it will control the scene in the future, in case someone finds out, he does something to the people in his village. But this Shiryen, seeing that he is about to hit the dark part, there is naturally no need to say what will happen to him at that time. Thinking of this, Ye Chen hurriedly disappeared in place with a divine power. Episode 69. So far, Ye Chen has an option reward for civilians, but he hasn't jumped out yet. Before the reward was obtained, Ye Chen did not dare to let these civilians die, otherwise the Uchiha bloodline he had set in him would be ruined. In the distance, Shangnan Shiryen, who was rushing in the direction of Ye Chen, was also extremely anxious at the moment. There was a violent explosion before, and he didn't know who caused it, but it was an explosion of this magnitude. If it was Ye Chen's enemy, I am afraid that Ye Chen would already be dead, and even if he arrived by then, I am afraid that Ye Chen would already be cold. He now hated his civilian status even more, making him even worse than the ninjas of other large families in terms of speed. Master Ye Chen, you must not have an accident. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. It was a ninja wearing a black hoodie and a mask on his face. However, it can be seen from the opponent's forehead that this is a ninja of Konoha. Seeing this person, this Shiryan's eyes suddenly lit up. The elite of the Dark Department, it's great that you appeared. Lord Ye Chen is fighting in front. You hurry up and notify Lord Hokage to support the handle. This stone rock is still not clear about the situation, so the first reaction when he sees the dark part is that the Hokage is also nearby. After all, the dark part is the Hokage's personal guard. Especially the critical moment of this kind of war is basically inseparable from the Hokage. The dark part on the opposite side, seeing Shiryan's long face, and according to the other party's words, analyzed that he might be a civilian ninja under Ye Chen. The order given to him above, but no one can approach whether friend or foe, and if there is any objection, he can be killed on the spot. There is no Ye Chen in front, where the battle has nothing to do with your troops, you can go back. In the end, it was a ninja in his own village, and this dark department did not directly kill people. However, hearing the words of the dark part, this Shiryen suddenly became anxious. What do you say? Lord Ye Chen is clearly on the battlefield ahead. What do you guys dark think? Saying that, this Shangnan seemed to have crossed the dark part and rushed directly to find Ye Chen. Seeing this scene, the dark part shook his head and did not dissuade him more. Seek your own death. After saying 4 words, he pulled out the knife on his back, and then a teleportation technique disappeared directly. The instantaneous body technique is a rare physical technique, usually a move that only clan ninjas can master, and if ordinary civilians want to redeem it, they can't do it without a few years of battle merit. In the face of this shadowy phantom instantaneous technique, where could that civilian Shangnan deal with it, although he immediately cast a substitute technique. But the other party's knife had already come to his chest before his last seal was finished. At this moment, a thunder sounded. Then Shangnan Shiryen only felt a flash of electricity in front of his eyes, and the dark part that attacked him had disappeared. The figure in front of him was replaced by a tall and majestic man. Although they had only been together for a few days, this civilian Shangren still recognized this man at a glance. Lord Ye Chen. Turning his head and looking again, on a tree not far away, the dark part that had attacked him earlier was now hanging on that tree trunk, and the situation in this dark part was very miserable now. The chest was directly pierced, the body kept bubbling with electric arcs, and the body was twitching all the time, and blood and white foam mixed with flowed from the corners of the mouth. This is simply dead and can't die anymore. After all, the heart is pierced. Yen had experienced this instantaneous technique in the dark part before, and he almost didn't even have the opportunity to cast the substitute technique, and he was almost killed. But in the face of Ye Chen, such an elite didn't even survive a face. Ye Chen turned to look at this Yen, and there was no lack of blame in his eyes. Being stared at by such a terrifying Ye Chen, Yen suddenly swallowed his saliva, and his body couldn't help but tremble. In the past, he had only heard that Ye Chen was powerful, claiming to be the blue lightning of Konoha, but today he finally saw Ye Chen make a move with his own eyes, which was really lightning fast speed. Why did you come over? Didn't you let you stay where you were? Ye Chen only opened his mouth to reproach it this time. Hearing this, Yen straightened up and said, Sir, we saw those horrific explosions earlier, and we were really worried about your safety, and I am the fastest of the 10 Shainin, so I came to see your situation. Ye Chen looked at Yen's expression and knew that this guy's words were true. Speaking of the previous battle, there was indeed a lot of movement, and now I am afraid that the spies of other countries have also heard the movement and rushed to this side. However, this Shainin is kind in the end, and if nothing else, this bone loyalty alone is worthy of praise. Okay, come back with me first, the battle over there is over. Ye Chen didn't dare to let this kid investigate the situation. The venue of the previous battle would inevitably be controlled by the ape-flying people next, and there would even be many spies from other countries. This kid's rash past is 9 times out of 10 to be explained. Ye Chen didn't want his reward to be lost directly because of a momentary rashness. Hearing Ye Chen say that the battle was over, Yen suddenly became curious. It was earth-shattering before, it was over so soon? Doesn't it mean that the battle of the shadow-level powerhouse usually lasts for a day? Even fighting for 3 days and 3 nights has been heard. And Jonin didn't say that there were 10,000 people, could it be that there was a problem in the rear? Thinking of this, Yen asked curiously, Sir, don't you know what problems Jonin encountered over there? Otherwise, how could there be a sudden retreat? This is not a secret. It is estimated that by early tomorrow morning, the entire ninja world will be rumored about this battle, so Ye Chen did not hide it. Retreat? It was indeed a retreat. Lei Ying was seriously injured by me and fell unconscious. Even Yao died. If they did not retreat, they would be dead. Hearing this, Yen even suspected his own ears. He didn't hear it wrong. Ye Chen faced the thunder shadow, plus the 2 pillars of the 8 tails and the 2 tails. Any of these 3 are placed in the ninja world today. That is an absolute top powerhouse. And Ye Chen actually said to kill one and cripple one? Ye Chen naturally saw that this kid didn't believe it, but he wasn't interested in explaining it to a commoner. You'll know tomorrow, let's go. After saying that, Ye Chen no longer lingered, and rushed directly to the place where he was temporarily camped. Seeing Ye Chen leave first, this Yen did not dare to stay. The shadow of the dark part before was still there, and I don't know when it will be one popping up. He alone doesn't have the guts to start with the ninja of the dark department again. It's just that along the way, he kept looking, Ye Chen walking in front of him. He really couldn't imagine what kind of storm it would set off in the ninja world if what Ye Chen said was true. Episode 70. Ye Chen did not exert his speed to the extreme along the way. His previous battle really consumed a lot of physical strength, and now he maintained such a speed similar to Yen, although he deliberately waited for the other party, but at the same time, he did not have any intention of resting. He knew that when he returned to the camp, he might not be able to stop so easily. Because although he killed Sarutobi Sasuke today, the most important target of Sarutobi Hinata has not yet been killed, so his struggle with Hinata is not over. The death of a daimyo Sasuke may seem difficult to deal with in the eyes of others, but Ye Chen knows that anyway. The daimyo does not announce his surname to the outside world. Even if he dies and chooses a successor, it is directly passed on. Others may think that it is the daimyo's child or descendant who will succeed to the throne, but since the succession ceremony does not allow tens of thousands of people to be present, it is enough for Hokage to arrange a henchman at will. It is also because of this that as long as Ye Chen does not kill the ape-flying son and get the position of the Hokage, then it is useless to kill as many daimyos. Sure enough, when he returned to the camp with Yen, there were already thousands of people at the door. Fortunately, both sides of the confrontation were carrying Konoha foreheads, otherwise they thought that 2 countries were fighting. Ye Chen counted and found that fortunately there were no dead people on his side, otherwise his reward would be ruined. And the person who blocked at the entrance of the camp was none other than Konoha's 3rd generation Hokage ape-flying son. At this moment, he had a dark department of about 100 people, and almost 2,000 troops. And the ape-flying son chopped himself, and he closed his eyes there as if waiting for someone. However, the civilian troops under Ye Chen were all tense. They had just learned about the order of the 3 generations before, and knew that this old guy did not treat them at all, and was even ready to send them to death. At this stalemate, Ye Chen appeared. Seeing Ye Chen, who suddenly appeared at the gate, the civilian ninjas present immediately cheered. Look, I'll just say that Lord Ye Chen is not so easy to die. Sure enough, come back, Lord Ye Chen is too strong, that's Liang and two people pillar power. In the future, I will follow Lord Dingyakan, only such an adult is worthy of being a Hokage. Hey, you shouldn't say this in front of 3 generations, compared to Ye Chen, this ape flying sun slash is really vain. Hearing the civilian ninja's disparagement of himself, ape flying sun chopper never took his breath, but leaned in front of Ye Chen and said with a kind face, Ye Chen, I heard about your achievements, first you seriously injured the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow, and you also beat the 8 tails to restore the body, and the 2nd tail also fled from the desert, worthy of being the successor of the Will of Fire. Ye Chen saw the kind look of the 3 generations. If he hadn't known that he had just killed his own father, he would have almost been fooled. Ye Chen doesn't believe that this old guy has not returned to the battlefield, and the current rechopper probably already knows that his father has been killed by Ye Chen, but in the face of killing his father and enemy, not only did he not have a seizure, but he could also be so calm. This scene made Ye Chen put away his contempt. It seems that this old guy has also grown up after this battle, and I am afraid that he will completely become an emotionless political machine in the future. I don't know, what's the matter with the 3 generations of adults coming over now? I remember that this battlefield to the north was not under my full command. How sophisticated the 3 generations were, they could hear Ye Chen squeezing himself at once. That's right, I've made arrangements for Yunin, united the land of fields and the land of iron, and blocked the retreating Yunin, but the manpower is not enough, and I want to requisition your 3,000 ninjas. The words of the 3 generations are simple, but these 3,000 ninjas have expressed their position before. They will only obey Ye Chen's orders, so there was a scene of the previous stalemate. Anyway, after 3 generations of abandonment, they will definitely not be obeying the orders of 3 generations. However, Ye Chen immediately saw the intention of the 3 generations. This old guy is planning to steal credit with himself. Yunin folded an 8-tailed on this side, even Liang was already seriously injured and unconscious, and then there were already a group of dragons without a leader. As long as someone led the team to pursue, it was bound to be able to gain a lot. And since Ye Chen is the political enemy of the 3 generations, the 3 generations naturally will not sit and wait for Ye Chen to accept this credit again. Otherwise, after the war, Ye Chen's reputation is likely to directly exceed 3 generations. And Ye Chen waved his hand and said in the face of this old traitorous and cunning 3rd generation, if I'm willing to accept it, I'm okay, do you want to go? Saying that, Ye Chen turned around and asked a question to those civilian ninjas. Hearing Ye Chen's question, these civilian ninjas suddenly became noisy. Who is going? 9 times out of 10, it will be cannon fodder. That is, I don't know how to die when the time comes, and I will resolutely follow Lord Ye Chen. Don't go. Who goes to whom cerebral palsy? It's just, I won't go to death. If Lord Ye Chen pursues, I'll go. It's nice to say, it's not that Lord Ye Chen solved all the problems before he came out to pick up the credit. It's really disgusting, the dirty work and tiring work are all done by Lord Ye Chen, and now Hokage has come out to grab the credit, so why did it early? As these civilian ninjas spoke, their expressions became more and more excited, as if they wanted to vent all the grievances accumulated over the years, so one by one was more difficult to hear. Even in the end, the ape flying sun was scolded out of a little anger, and the whole person's chakra was condensed, and there was a posture of moving without saying a word. However, ape flying sun also knew that although this was ugly, it was all true. Who told him not to come in the first place, otherwise these 3,000 people would be his people. However, he also knows that he does not have any strength. Really let him face 3 generations of Thunder Shadows and 2 people Julie. I am afraid that he has already burped. Ye Chen's face was full of smiles when he heard this. These people can be regarded as completely home, and this is the power in his hands in the future. Well, Naruto-sama, these people themselves are not happy, but I didn't instigate it. At this time, how can he have the heart to accept these people, and when the time comes, these civilians really agree, and he may not be able to resist killing a few first. Turning around, Sarutobi was going to return to Konoha. He didn't have the guts to pursue with more than 2,000 people, because although Yunin's high-end combat power was damaged, the 10,000 elites were basically intact. Even his 2,000 people, plus the 4,000 people of the Tianji Country Coalition Army, were still far inferior to Yunin. At that time, if a large number of his henchmen are killed and injured, he will not be willing to bear it. What's more, chasing all the way to the past, maybe he will chase out the border of the Fire Country, and when he is in a foreign country, maybe he will fall into passivity. He has always been good at protecting his life, but he will not really take risks with his life. And Ye Chen saw him in the direction of Konoha, and immediately understood, this old turtle egg finally provoked.